Hello, Scorpio, Sun, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So, Scorpio, today we're going to go over your energy as well as your person's energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship and how you guys feel about it and what actions you guys plan on taking each other's direction and are moving forward. So, with all that being said, Scorpio, let's get started. How does Scorpio currently view this relationship? So we do have the Six of Pentacles, we do have the King of Pentacles, and then we also have the High Priestess out here. You could be dealing with a Pisces, possibly a Taurus strongly, or a Virgo, or a Capricorn. Doesn't necessarily have to be the case though, but the bottom of the deck, let's see what's going on here. For some of you, you could be married to the person that you're currently connecting with, share a home with them, share finances with them, have a family with them. You're definitely, you know, one of those things. Or in a committed relationship with them, but let's talk. Let's talk, okay? Scorpio, I feel like you're connecting with somebody, who is like kind of like all over the place is like the best way that I could describe what it is that I'm seeing here. It's like there's times where this person gives you the impression that they really do want you and this dynamic that they share with you, and there's times where they kind of give you the impression that they just can't do this anymore. Is basically what I'm getting. I feel like this person tends to I feel like this person tends to bounce back and forth between these energies. It's like one day, you know, they love you, they can't even picture their life without you, and the next day they're just like, oh my God, I can't do this. This is too much. It kind of looks like this person's hopping into this energy of I just can't be without you, Scorpio. I just cannot be without you. You know, you're my everything. I feel like the primary reason why this person tends to fall into this energy of like, oh my God, I just can't do this. This is just too much, is because when certain things happen within this dynamic, they become extremely easily overwhelmed, you know, to the point where they do want to get up and run in the opposite direction, not justifying their behavior or anything like that. But that's primarily, you know, the reason why they tend to fall into this energy of, oh my God, I just can't do this anymore, is because they tend to get easily you know, overwhelmed when things go left, for example, within this dynamic that the two of you essentially share with one another, okay? Okay. I want to look at your energy a little bit more, just to kind of see where your head is at. Tell me more about the High Priestess. I think that you're recognizing that this pattern within them and this behavior within them is just not healthy, you know, for you, or this dynamic that the two of you essentially share with one another. These are things that you're essentially recognizing, okay? As far as what you want to do about it is concerned, it kind of looks like that's yet to essentially be determined. I do see you thinking long and hard about how you want to approach the situation. But the only thing that I am definitely getting so far is that you are acknowledging, yes, this pattern from them is unhealthy. This behavior is, you know, very unhealthy, unfortunately, to this, you know, dynamic here between the two of you. Okay, let's jump back over to them, shall we? How does this person currently view this relationship with Scorpio? Okay. So we do have the Eight of Swords, we do have the Three of Wands, and then we also have the Hierophant out here. At the bottom of the deck, we do have the Five of Pentacles, and then we also have the Queen of Pentacles. You guys showed up as a true pair 2 times. We have the Hierophant to the High Priestess, now we have the King to the Queen of Pentacles. Okay. Because this person is basically all over the place / scattered, energetically speaking, it does appear to me that yes, it definitely has been taking like a massive toll on you on a like mental level, spiritual level, emotional level, possibly even a physical level. Now, when it comes on to this person, I think that this person is aware that their actions and their behavior, you know, does tend to take a massive toll on you. It tends to bring a lot of confusion, you know, into your life. This to me just kind of feels like an energy of them like owning up to their stuff. Like, I know, you know, that I'm like this, and I know I'm like that, and I know I shouldn't be like this, and I know I shouldn't be like that, and I know it hurts you, and I know it affects you, and I know it's unhealthy. Like, this to me just kind of feels like this to me just kind of feels like an energy of them kind of coming back down to earth is like the best way that I could describe it. It's like they're starting to kind of think clearly is basically what I'm getting. How does Scorpio feel? Okay, let's see. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. We do another true pair situation, man, between you and this person. Y'all are very compatible to one another. We have the Emperor out here. The person that's in the Strength card is the Empress. In regards to how you're currently feeling, okay? There's a big part of you that still wants this dynamic between the two of you to essentially work, okay? However, you don't necessarily feel like it's going to essentially work, not because of anything that, you know, you're doing on your behalf or whatever the case may be. It has everything to do with them and what they're doing on their behalf and how it's hurting you and how it's affecting you and how it's taking a toll on you. It's like this whole 1 minute them wanting you, the next minute they don't. It's just starting to become a little bit too much. So as much as you want your relationship with this individual to essentially work out due to how compatible you guys are, due to the life that you guys were able to build and establish with one another thus far, like you don't necessarily feel like it's ever going to honestly work out between you and this person, causing you to feel like maybe, just maybe, you should just kind of walk away. Because a lot of you feel like if you don't, history is just going to continue to repeat itself. You know, they're going to wake up the next morning and then they're going to treat you completely different than the day before. And I think that that's just, you know, starting to become extremely overwhelming and exhausting, you know, for you. And it's taking its toll. But nonetheless, going back to what I originally said about you, I think that you're identifying that there's certain behaviors and patterns within them that makes this dynamic between the two of you very toxic and very unhealthy. As far as how you want to proceed forward is concerned, it kind of looks like you're unclear when it comes down to that. Before you say anything, you just want to make sure that whatever it is that you do relate to them, it's something that you mean and it's something that you have every intentions of essentially seeing through, is basically what I'm getting. You're more grounded and level-headed than they are. How does, yeah. So we have the we have the Nine of Swords, so Queen of Swords, and then we also have the Queen of Cups out here. Okay. Okay, hold on. Wait a second. It kind of looks like once upon a time. Once upon a time. Not entirely sure, I guess, when this ever occurred and or happened here. But once upon a time, it kind of looks like the roles were reversed. It kind of looks like you were the one once upon a time that was extremely ungrounded. You were the one once upon a time that was very, very scattered within your energy. You once upon a time, you know, wanted them one day, the next day you didn't. Because I'm getting something about that they basically experienced this with you at some point throughout the course of their involvement with you. Is basically what I'm getting. And the fact that you just don't want to deal with it or tolerate it, they view that to be extremely unfair, because when you were going through your indecisive moments, when you were going through your overthinking moments, when you were going through those moments where one day you want them, the next day you don't, they just stuck around and dealt with it. You know what I mean? In the name of, well, I love Scorpio, so I'm just going to deal with it. And now that the roles are essentially reversed, it's kind of like you're giving them like, you know, this impression that you just don't want to deal with it or put up with it anymore. Like you just want to just get up and walk away. And it causes this person to, you know, feel like this entire situation is extremely unfair, because according to them, when you were like this with them, they just stuck around and just, you know, put up with it. Not because, you know, not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to, because they loved you and they cared about you and, you know, things of that nature. So, you know, the fact that you're just like at this point where you're at your wit's ends and you don't even want to deal with it anymore, kind of has this person feeling, you know, like, well, that's messed up, because when Scorpio was going through what they were going through, I was there for them and I just dealt with it and I just put up with it because I loved them and because I cared about them and I wanted it to work out, and I did everything that I could to like help them and make them feel better and put their mind, you know, at ease, and they're not doing that for me. You know, I'm not a psychologist. I want to throw that out there. But considering the fact that this person harnesses Eight of Swords energy and Nine of Swords energy, one thing that I will say is that mentally speaking, okay, this person is all over the place. Why? I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. I couldn't tell you. Mentally speaking, they are all over the place. Okay. It's not normal. It's not normal for this person to want you one day and the next day they don't. Okay. That is not normal. Okay. Mentally speaking, I do believe something's definitely going on. Okay. I'm also getting an energy of them like getting easily overwhelmed on top of that. Okay. Um, Now, could this person be scattered mentally speaking because maybe they have a lot of things going on in their own personal life and then they're having to deal with like the problems that they have with you? I mean, it's a possibility. But again, I'm not a psychologist. The only thing that I can say and will say is that mentally speaking, I don't believe that this person is in their right state of mind. It could be due to it could be due to stress. It could be due to like family matters. It could be due to them being worried and concerned about, their finances. There could be a variety of different things going on within this person's life that could very well be causing this person to be extremely scattered, mentally speaking. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, so then there's that. What actions will Scorpio take towards this person or moving forward? So we do have, man, I'm just getting an energy of you feeling bad. I'm just getting an energy of you feeling bad. It's like the reality of the situation is that this is taking a toll on you and you can't deny that. You know what I mean? Because you feel it, because you live it. You see what I mean? So of course there's a part of you that just wants to like sever ties with this person, just be done with the situation and not have to continue to deal with it anymore. But when it comes down to you actually seeing this through, right, and pulling the plug, you feel bad because in your eyes you feel like you're abandoning them. You know what I mean? You feel like you're abandoning them. And I feel like we also have to kind of take into consideration that you are a Scorpio. I didn't even stop to think about that. I think that intuitively, let's just focus on that real quick. I feel like intuitively, I think that something's terribly wrong, like on a mental level with this person. You may not fully know like exactly what's going on with this person mentally speaking and why they're all over the place, like, mentally speaking and emotionally speaking, because it's mentally and emotionally this person's, scattered and all over the place. But anyways, I think that something, is definitely going on, and for you to just get up and leave them like that, you know what I mean? Like it makes you essentially feel bad because it makes you feel like you're abandoning them, when they need you the most, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you may not like, everything that you're going through with this person in particular, but at the end of the day, this is somebody that you still love. This is somebody that you still care about. So to get up and walk away for you seems like a very challenging and difficult thing, for you to do, because of course you would be freeing yourself, technically speaking, of all that comes with this individual. So therefore you wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. However, you're still in a way kind of leaving them in this like state that they're in. And it does cause you to essentially feel bad because I think that deep down inside, something's not right with this person on like a psychological level. Something's not right. Okay. And listen, this could have a lot to do with trauma too. You know what I mean? This could have, oh my God, yeah, this could have a lot to do with trauma too. Again, I don't really see you making any sort of decision. I don't see you making any sort of decision as of right now because it kind of looks like you're stuck. It kind of looks like you're stuck. It's like you don't really know what the heck to do. You know what I mean? Like with this person, you don't know if you should just, walk away and just call it a day and not have to deal with it anymore, or if you should just stick around and try to help them to the best of your ability. Like you don't know what to do. I think that something's not right with this person. I think that something's not right with this person, whether it's their past traumas haunting them, or they're just under like a great deal of stress and they're not thinking clearly. Like, I think you know deep down inside something's not right with this person. Let's just be honest. And mental health is like a real thing, you know what I mean? So I think that something's wrong. You know, mentally speaking, I feel like something's definitely wrong. Something's definitely wrong because none of this is normal. And I think that you know none of this is normal. Like something is definitely going on. I don't think that you suspect that, you know, the reason why they are the way that they are is because like it's because of like another man or another woman. I don't think that you think that. I just think that you think, you know, that, you know, something's like terribly wrong with this person, you know? So, um, yeah, then there's that. But I don't even know, dude. It doesn't even look like you know what to do at this point. But what actions? We have the Seven of Cups. I'm going to look into that damn Seven of Cups because that keeps showing up in this person's energy. I'm gonna look at that damn Seven of Cups, just to see if I can get like a better understanding of what's going on with this person on an emotional level and a psychological level. But something's not right. Something's not right. Let me just break this down really quickly here, and then we'll dissect the Seven of Cups in a second. But with the World to the Ten of Pentacles to the Seven of Cups, that's kind of telling me that they want to essentially proceed forward within this dynamic here between the two of you, but something's going on. Like something's fucking going on. Tell me more about the Seven of Cups. Let's see what's going on. We have the Five of Pentacles. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We do have the King of Wands, the Two of Cups. And then we also have the Ace of Swords. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Wands to the Three of Cups. You got the Knight of Swords to the Ten of Cups. There's something that's causing this individual to not want to continue to be a part of this dynamic here between the two of you. But that part of them that doesn't want to continue to be a part of this dynamic that they share with you is very, very tiny. It's very small is what I'm gathering. So like, for example, there's like a good 95% of them that wants to continue to be with you in this dynamic that they share with you. But then there's just that 5% that causes them to not want to continue to be a part of this dynamic. And it creates a level of like unhappiness, I would say, for them. To the point where they tend to like hyper focus on that 5%. And the more they hyper focus on that 5%, the more they're just like, oh my God, this is too much. I just can't do this. And that tends to happen to people, where a person will meet somebody who has 80% of what they want within a person, and they just lack that 20%. Most people, if not all people, will eventually find themselves focusing on the 20% that person lacks, you know? And the more they focus on what that person lacks, the more unhappy they start to essentially feel, the more miserable they start to feel, the more depressed they start to feel, the more angry they start to feel, the more frustrated they start to feel. But if that person were to take that time to focus and hyper focus, I mean, on the 80% of what that person has, there's going to be a significant change within that person's energy. They're going to find themselves, you know, feeling happy, grateful, you know, just outright full of joy, you know what I mean? Because they're dealing with somebody who has this and has that, and this is awesome, and this is amazing. So let's focus on the five. Let's just, not the 5%, well, basically that's what it is, but let's just focus on the Five of Pentacles real quick. I think that this, I see. Going back, and I'm not saying that this is true, that they ever experienced this with you, but I'm going based off of according to them, okay? And just because it's showing up in their energy doesn't necessarily make this accurate or anything like that. We're just going based off of them and how they're perceiving the situation with you, okay? Okay. According to them, the roles were reversed once upon a time. You were the one overthinking things. You were the one being indecisive. You were the one where one minute you wanted to be with them, the next, you know, day you didn't. And I'm sure if that is true, you had your reasons as to why you felt that way. Now, there's a huge possibility that you no longer feel that way because you've learned to accept the things that you just simply can't change, right? Because the reality of the situation is that you're never, I don't care where you go, or who you end up with, that person that you decide to go off and build and establish a life with, they're going to have um certain things about them that you're not going to necessarily like. You know what I mean? That you're not going to necessarily want to fucking put up with and or deal with. That is just the reality of the situation. And there's a huge possibility that you yourself could have been very hyper focused on the 5% that you didn't necessarily like about them, causing you to be indecisive, causing you to question, why the hell am I with this man? Why the hell am I with this woman? You see what I mean? And it's basically the same thing that this person is basically going through. If this is true, that the roles, yes, were in fact reversed and you are going through what they're going through now. Okay. Now, with all that being said, the things that they don't necessarily like about you causes them to feel like they don't want to essentially continue on in this dynamic because it makes them unhappy. It's just too much to deal with and I just can't take it. Probably the exact same way that you felt towards them once upon a time, where you were hyper focusing on the 5% that you didn't necessarily like about them. I feel like you've basically accepted the fact that, you know what, there's certain things about this person that no, you don't fucking like. You don't like the fact this person throws their dirty clothes right next to the hamper instead of in the hamper, but you've learned to just accept the fact that this is just who they are and they're probably never gonna fucking change. So instead of you getting all worked up about it, you just learn to just deal with it and just accept it. It is what it is. That's the process and the journey they're on right now, where they're learning to accept things about you that they don't necessarily like. Because at the end of the day, no matter how you want to slice and dice it, okay, when a person finds themselves connecting with somebody who has 95% of what they want within a person, they just lack that 5%, it's kind of hard to walk away from something like that, because you guys are two people who have a lot of life experience. So you know what it's like to, connect with someone who has a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of what you truly want and desire. And you understand also too, just like they do, how rare it is for you guys to find something like this. Because, and even me, I kind of noticed it. I was like, damn, like you guys are showing up as a true pair again. Like shit, like y'all are very fucking compatible to one another. Like, and I'm pretty sure married couples, and just couples in general, where, and you are a freaking Scorpio. I know you know what I'm talking about. When you meet that married couple or that couple in general, and you can tell how they're polar opposites. They don't really resonate with one another, but it's one of those things where it's like opposites attract or whatever. Like, and 9 times out of 10, those relationships don't ever freaking work out. It just doesn't. I've personally never seen a polar opposite relationship in my life ever freaking work out. I've seen people that are extremely compatible to one another last a test of times. I've seen that shit happen. You know what I mean? And that's what you guys have. And that's the thing. That's what you guys have. See, it's very easy to walk away from someone that is your polar opposite. It's very easy to walk away from someone that you don't have anything in common with. It is easy for you to walk away from someone that you just don't, resonate with or work well as a team with. These dynamics are very easy to walk away from, but what you guys share with one another is not easy to just get up and walk away from because of how compatible you guys are. So the journey, moral of the story that this person's basically on is just that. You know what I mean? It's honestly just that, them learning to accept that you are the way that you are, and there might be certain things about you that they don't necessarily like, and that's okay. I mean, it is what it is, but they just need to learn to essentially accept that. And by the way, this is normal. This is very normal for this person to find certain things about you that they don't necessarily like. Maybe you're the type of person that likes to go to like Target and spend a boatload of money. They may not like that. They may not like that you go to Target and spend a boatload of money at Target. They may not like that about you, but they're just going to learn to fucking accept that. You know what I mean? They're just going to learn to accept that. You know what I mean? And it may take time. You know what I mean? It might take 50 million arguments about you going to Target and spending a boatload of money at Target, for this person to just accept the fact that, all right, this is just who you are, and that's just never gonna freaking change. You gotta understand that you guys look at each other, because that's what it is. I mean, you guys did show up as a king and the queen of pentacles, so that's another thing too, but like, you look at this person as somebody who's damn near close to everything that you could truly want and desire within a person. And the fact that they lack that 5%, I'm sure at the time when you were going through this was so fucking frustrating, because it's like, oh my God, like, you know, you just have everything that I want, but it's just that thing that you need to change and that thing that you need to change and that, and you'll be perfect for me. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure you were frustrated when you were going through this journey that they are now embarking. But that's basically what's happening with them. It's like, they're just like, oh my God, but Scorpio is like, they're just everything that I want, but they just need to stop going to Target and spending so much money. They just need to stop going to this coffee shop and spending money every day, like, you know, at this freaking like coffee like shop. Why don't they just make it at home? Like, you know, and these are things that they're just gonna have to learn to essentially accept about you, just like you had to learn to accept certain things about them. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Am I worried and concerned about this relationship? I guess I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I'm not really worried and concerned about this relationship. I think that you guys are just going through a trying time within your dynamic with one another. Um, I'm not really worried and concerned though about this relationship, to be honest. I mean, I don't like the fact that it's affecting the way that's affecting you, and I don't like the fact that this dynamic is affecting them the way that it's affecting them. Um, you know, either. But do I think this is something that the two of you will definitely overcome? Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like this is something that the two of you will essentially overcome. At the end of the day, you guys showed up as the Emperor to the Empress. An Emperor to an Empress. These are two people who are really, really good at coming together and working as a team. Um, so you guys are really, really good at coming together and working as a team. And that's all that this is going to essentially take, is coming together and working as a team and trying to be there for one another and help one another out. Like, that's all that it really, really does take. And it might take some time, you know what I mean, before this person, you know, hops into their right mind and, you know, comes together and works with you, you know, as a team. But that's all that it really takes to overcome this challenge, is coming together and working as a team and just understanding that, you know what, this person, they're being affected the way that they're being affected, you're being affected the way that you're being affected. All right, what can we do about it? You know, so that way we're not continuing to stress each other out, or overwhelm each other and, you know, things like that. But I'm not really worried and concerned about this relationship, to be honest. All right. I think that you guys know exactly what you guys need to do to make this work. And I think that, you know, when the timing is essentially right, you guys will come together and make that happen. All right. So that is what I have for you. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated. And I will see you guys in your next